Hey, this is Nathan with Parley's Diesel Performance. Today we're installing a performance intake manifold from CFM Plus. The CFM Plus intake manifold actually flows over 40% more CFM than stock does. Another nice thing about this manifold is because of the composite material that it's made out of, it actually retains a lot less heat than the stock one does, as well as a lot of its major competitors, which means it's going to flow more cool air, which translates to more horsepower, torque, and fuel economy. Another nice thing about these CFM Plus manifolds is that they have the option to come pre-drilled and tapped for your water, methanol, NOS, whatever you want to inject. What we're going to do is walk you through the step-by-step installation, show you how easy it is, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so the first thing we need to do to install the CFM Plus intake manifold is remove the stock manifold. First thing we've got to do is remove the negative cables on the batteries. We've already done it on the other side. We've already loosened this one up, so we'll just pull it off and pull it to the side. Then we need to loosen up the bolt so that we can slide the dipstick over to the side. We're going to loosen up a nut on the back side that's holding a wiring harness, and then we're going to loosen up the boost hose clamp. On some models you can remove this in this step. On this one we're just going to loosen it up and we'll pull it out in one of the following steps.
The next step is going to be to remove the 4 bolts that are currently holding in the intake manifold, as well as the heater block. Once those are removed, we can go ahead and remove the stock intake as well as the heater block itself. Once we've done that, we want to make sure to drop no debris in the engine or in the boost hose. Once you've removed the stock intake manifold, you can go ahead and remove these nuts right here that hold the wiring to the heater block, and then you'll be able to remove the heater block. Again, be extra careful not to drop any debris inside the engine.
Okay, before we move on to the next step, we just wanted to take a look at the difference between the stock intake manifold versus the CFM Plus intake manifold. As you can see, the stock manifold's made of a heavy metal material that's going to retain heat, whereas the CFM Plus is made of a composite material that's not going to retain the heat. On the stock manifold, you can see on the intake side, which is this side, where it bottlenecks, which is really going to hamper performance. On the CFM Plus, you can see how much larger it is. Let's take a look down the center real quick. Again, on the stock manifold, you can see exactly how it bottlenecks and how it's going to hamper performance, whereas on the CFM Plus, it's completely wide open. Okay, our next step is to loosen the wiring harness stud bolt. We're going to reuse that on the CFM Plus. Once we've removed the wiring harness stud bolt, we'll use it and install it in the CFM Plus. Next, we're going to clean off the old gasket remains from the heater core, so just remove the old gaskets and then clean off the old remains, which you can see there's plenty of them. Do this on both sides. Now you're going to want to put a rag or something down into the intake hole so that no debris falls in. Now we're going to do the same over here. We're just going to remove the gasket and clean away the old gasket debris. You're going to want to clean the surface of the intake hole here as well as on both sides of the heater core.
Once we've cleaned up both sides of the heater block and the intake opening on the engine, we're ready to go ahead and reinstall the heater block itself. What we'll need for that is the factory graphite gasket as well as the 4 threaded locker studs that we're going to go ahead and install. Now to do this, CFM Plus has installed 2 non-locking jam nuts. And the way that we'll do that is we'll use 2 13mm wrenches, and we'll just use those against each other so that we'll be able to jam them against each other and just wrench down on the top one, and that'll install. Just be sure to not over tighten on this.
Okay, once the studs are in place and the heater block wiring harness has been refastened and tightened, go ahead and install the second gasket. Now that we've reinstalled the heater block and refastened the heater block wiring harness nuts, we've gone ahead and installed the aluminum reinforced foam gasket and put the CFM Plus in place. Now we're going to take one of the washers and nylon locking nuts and put it on one of the back studs and tighten it down by hand to hold it in place so that we can tighten the rest. So as soon as you get that one in place on the back and tighten down by hand, go ahead and put them on the rest of them. Okay, now that all 4 are in place and tightened by hand, you can go ahead and snug them up to 140 inch-pounds. Next, we need to reinstall the washer with the wiring harnesses to the back of the CFM Plus intake manifold. The washer going first, followed by the 3 wiring harnesses.
Now that we have the CFM Plus intake manifold in place, all we need to do to finish up is reattach the dipstick to its new location, clamp down the boost hose clamp to 100 inch-pound, and reattach both negative battery terminals, and we're good to go.